Hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel. You know, there's a subtle but absolutely massive change happening all around us. We're slowly but surely shifting from owning things to just, well, having access to them. Think about it. Your movies, your music, your software, maybe even your car. The very idea of what it means to own something is being completely rewritten. So in today's explainer, we're going to dig into that. We're going to ask, what happened to ownership?
You know, this whole conversation really exploded around this one now pretty infamous phrase from a World Economic Forum video back in 2016. Now, they said it was supposed to spark a discussion about the future, but for a lot of people, it sounded less like a prediction and, well, more like a threat. And it just perfectly nails that strange, uncomfortable feeling we have in our modern economy, right? That feeling that we don't really own anything anymore, even though we are constantly paying for it.
So what is this all about? This vision of a world where you don't own anything? Is it a promise, a future of ultimate convenience, where everything is at your fingertips? Or is it a warning? A warning about a future where we've completely lost control over the very things we use every single day. Okay, to really get what's at stake here, let's look at a classic example, a physical book versus a digital one. When you buy a real physical book, it's yours, right? You can sell it, you can lend it to a friend, you can keep it on your shelf forever. But when you click buy on a digital book, guess what? You're not actually buying the book. What you're buying is a license to read it. And that license, it can be changed, it can even be taken away, and you have zero right to resell it. The story inside is the same, but your rights as a consumer, they are worlds apart.
And this isn't just some theory, This is happening in the real world. Take the class action lawsuit against Apple, for instance. A bunch of consumers basically argued that the buy button itself was a lie. They thought they were getting permanent ownership, just like buying a CD or a book, but what they actually got was a license that could be revoked at any time. And this legal fight, it goes right to the heart of the matter. What does it even mean when we click purchase online?
All right, so that question leads us straight into the business side of things. Let's be real. This massive shift isn't happening by accident. Companies are pushing this subscription model and are pushing it hard for one very simple reason. It's a total gold rush. It's incredibly profitable. And when I say gold rush, I mean it. The sheer scale of this is, well, it's staggering. We're talking about a global subscription market worth a massive $170 billion. With that much cash on the table, is it any surprise that basically every company out there, from streaming services to your local grocery store, wants a piece of that pie?
And here is the big reason why Wall Street absolutely loves this model. Just look at this chart. Subscription companies are growing their revenues 5 times faster than the average big company on the S&P 500. 5 times. It's all about that sweet, predictable, recurring revenue, right? Instead of hoping you'll buy something once, they get you on the hook for a steady stream of cash month after month. For investors, that kind of predictability is just irresistible.
So, for businesses, it's pretty clear. This is a golden ticket. It means stable income and massive growth. But for us, the consumers, it's just become the new normal, hasn't it? We've almost been trained to just accept paying for access every single month without even thinking about it.
Okay, but why do we go along with it? Really, why is it so incredibly hard to hit that cancel button? Well, it turns out the decision to keep paying usually has very little to do with logic. It's all about psychology.
The first big psychological trick they use is called loss aversion. Basically, science tells us that we humans hate losing things way more than we enjoy gaining them. So once you're subscribed to a streaming service, the thought of losing all your custom playlists or your watch history, that pain feels way stronger than the little bit of money you'd save by canceling. It's a powerful hook.
And then there's the sunk cost effect. Oh man, we've all been here. It's that gym membership you've been paying for 6 months, but you've only gone twice. You keep paying. Why? Because you don't want to admit that you've wasted all the money you've already put in. It's the exact same logic with subscriptions. We keep paying even when we're not using them just to make ourselves feel better about the money we've already spent.
And the final piece of the puzzle is something called status quo bias. In simple terms, we're just lazy. We preferred to keep things exactly as they are. And boy, do subscription companies know this. They exploit it by making auto-renewal the default setting. And as I'm sure we've all experienced, they sometimes make that cancel button almost impossible to find. See, canceling takes effort. Doing nothing? Well, that means you just keep paying.
And you can actually see these psychological games at play in the data. This table shows the cancellation rates, or what the industry calls churn, across different types of subscriptions. Look, software has the lowest cancellation rate. Why? Because it's a pain to switch, and you've already invested so much time and money into it, that's the sunk cost effect. But then you look at retail and lifestyle boxes. They have the highest churn rate, because that initial excitement, that novelty just wears off.
So, up until now, we've mostly been talking about digital stuff, music, software, movies. But this is where it gets really weird. What happens when this whole idea of renting instead of owning starts to infect the actual physical products in our homes?
And I mean really weird. Imagine buying a brand new car that has heated seats already built in, but you have to pay a monthly subscription to actually turn them on. Or what about a printer that just bricks itself, stops working completely if you cancel your ink subscription? And listen, these aren't some far-off future predictions. This stuff is happening right now. You've paid for the physical hardware, but you have absolutely no control over it.
And this trend is killing a really important, fundamental consumer right, the right to repair. See, when you only have a license to use a product, the company can put in software locks that prevent you or your local repair shop from fixing it when it breaks. This basically creates a repair monopoly, forcing you to go back to them and their high prices, or more often than not, just nudging you to throw it away and buy a new one.
And as you can imagine, this has a very real, very ugly physical consequence. This whole strategy of planned obsolescence, making things that are built to break, combined with these repair restrictions, is creating literal mountains of electronic waste. In a world where we're not allowed to fix the things we buy, we're just creating a disposable culture. And that is having a massive, and I mean massive, environmental impact.
All right, so let's zoom out and look at the big picture. What's the true cost of all this convenience? Because that's what it boils down to, right? The entire subscription economy is built on one giant trade-off. We are trading something really fundamental for the promise of an easy, seamless experience. So let's break that trade-off down. On one side, the promise is awesome, right? We get incredible convenience, stuff is cheaper to get started with, and we have access to a ridiculous amount of content. But the price we pay? Well, it's pretty steep. We lose our autonomy. We lose any sense of permanence, since a service could just vanish tomorrow. And we're watching our basic consumer rights, like the right to sell or repair our stuff, just get chipped away. And all of this leaves us with one last, really important question to think about. In a world that is increasingly built on temporary access, what is the true value of actually owning something? Is ownership just some old-fashioned idea we're happy to trade away for convenience? Or is it a fundamental right that we need to fight to protect? I guess that's a question we all have to answer for ourselves every single time we click subscribe. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe for more such interesting content.